We could still hear you. It's just it changed from one mic to another. Your voice just. Yeah. Clyde always favors his YouTubers. It's all right. I love you, Facebook land. YouTube, you could probably still hear me, so it's okay. Clyde said he doesn't like you, YouTube. Look at that. I don't got no fancy.
There we go. I fixed it. Okay, shut up. Okay, now we're good to go. All right, so shimmer effect. There really isn't much to it, but it does deserve its own content, and we'll just jump right into it right now. So when you open up xLights, create a new sequence, and you grab the shimmer effect, the default shimmer effect, this is exactly what it looks like. Not very exciting. And it seems that we have a couple sliders, and there's only a couple checkboxes, so there really isn't much that you can or can't do to the shimmer effect to really make it do anything crazy. You have to physically make the shimmer effect do something. So the first thing I'm going to skip down to, instead of hitting the duty factor, I'm going to skip down the cycle count. And so moving your slider on the cycle count does give you a very shimmery reactiveness to the lighting, or whatever colors you have selected. Now again, if you only have one color selected, it's only going to shimmer just one color. So there's red. If you have two colors, it's going to shimmer between the both of them, and then it's going to throw a couple off commands in there, I guess, maybe. But the cycle count is going to be where you're going to see that rate of flashing. I really don't use the shimmer effect very much because there's more specific timing that might be involved, and when I'm sequencing, it's just easier to do some other things, which I'm going to get into in a little bit here. But so there's cycle count, and now we have colors. I want to mention colors because in this instance I only have white and black hooked up on selected on the color palette. If you are running with colors and you want to do multiple colors, you can have multiple colors in here. The more colors it's going to cycle through with what you have checked on your checkboxes that are available in the function of the effect. I would say shimmer is probably not used an awful lot. I don't see it in a lot of sequences, not for the fact that it isn't useful, but because I think there's other ways to hit things or denote them other than using shimmer. One of the worst things that you can do with the shimmer effect is put it on the whole house. Let's do that because I want you to see that. If you put shimmer on the all house or the all display, that just looks really gaudy. So this is something that whenever you're sequencing, I kind of tend to stay. I personally tend to stay away from. I favor doing things with shimmer on. Well, I move them down to, let's say, the floodlights. That's a good place for them. Floodlights seem to be a good place to put them, especially solid colors. I'm a fan of the solid colors. So in any event, duty factor. Duty factor is what duty factor means. The factor of the duty that it's going to produce at the time that you selected it for. So here's 88. Here's your duty factor. I sure did. And Robert pointed out that I said duty. And now it's on YouTube and Facebook. But there's duty factor. These two sliders, I feel like this is like you're honing in, like you're specifying, you're being like a little bit more specific, lower or higher, and then this gives you more shimmer, lower or higher at that setting. I kind of feel like that is, there really isn't any. I mean, you can go look at in the manual for xLights and read through it, and I won't say there isn't a lot there, but there's enough there to kind of walk you through what the effect does. But just playing around with it, this is one thing that really you really need to do whenever it comes to using the shimmer. It does use all colors. If you have a checkbox here if you activate the checkbox, it does use all colors if you have multiple colors selected. So in this instance, I've got green, black, and white. What if we had just red, green, and blue? So there's a bunch of red, green, and blue. Oh, and then there's black in there. If you wanted to have more darkness, you could just add a couple more black colors in, and that would make it a little bit more, well, it would probably take away some of the colors and add a little bit more darkness into it. If we move those around and get rid of all the black, now you can see it's definitely more RGB colorful. So remember that you have that option. You can always add more of the same, more of the black colors if you're trying to tone it down some. So here's red with a lot of blacks. That kind of it gives you the option to not. It takes twinkling to a different level too. I really didn't want to talk about the twinkle effect. We did a video on twinkle effect versus the strobe effect. You can check that out on the YouTube channel. You can check it out also on the Facebook page. I think it's uploaded there as well. So if we go back in time to 2017 and we just use the default settings from xLights, and the reason why this checkbox exists is from time to time things have been written in xLights for a specific time period. There was one way to build the effect back in 2012, 13, 14, 15. And then when we get to 2017, I believe this was Sean Meehan is the one who wrote this effect. I could be wrong though. But I believe Sean realized that there were some limitations with the original Shimmer. Maybe somebody else did rewrite the effect. I really don't remember. But I remember him saying there were some limitations, and so they updated it, and this pre-2017.7 version is there to keep up with anybody who used the Shimmer effect previous, and it's an automatic default. So if you opened a sequence from 2017 that was using this version of Shimmer, it will auto default to having that, I believe, checkbox. I believe there are a number of effects in xLights that have this kind of a old version versus new version checkbox. I'll point them out for you real quick. First is the pinwheel. If we go to pinwheel, you can see here style, new render style method versus old render style method, and that was generally because there was artifacting with the old pinwheel, and the only way to fix it was to rewrite it in under here, we'll put it up on the all display. There we go. There was artifacting whenever you had certain. Yeah, see where it's kind of sparkly there, where it's kind of missing. That's artifacting, and so that was synonymous with the original version, and so the new method cleaned that up, made it look real perfect, and that's the default now. But if you had the old render method and you were using xLights from back in the day, then it would automatically remember this. So that's one effect that has that same kind of a checkbox that still allows you to open up and run the same effects. Or the effects that they were originally intended for. The next effect that I could say has a change is, where you at? I gotta find you. Twinkle. That's Twinkle. There we go. Okay, so here's Twinkle, and this kind of looks like Shimmer with all the colors checkboxed. This style, it's called New Render Method, and that's the default whenever you place it down. But the old render method was also very useful, and there were things that you could do with your twinkle steps whenever they were set really low, and there was just a look to it that allowed you to get a different rendering. This is one of the things that I like to do, is I like the re-randomized twinkles. I like the old method, but I also like the new method because it was useful. So there are other effects that have seen this change or this update. And so going back through the sliders, you can see that the duty factor actually does something a little bit more in this version versus the earlier version. I'll go ahead and select it here. So that's the duty factor at 99 being bumped up the whole way, whereas this one here, if we bump it up to 99 and you have red and white selected, it's still not doing anything. So there is definitely a difference between them. What the difference is, I really don't know. But just know that there is a difference between the uses of them. So if we go back to, this is the pre-2017. So you've got a duty factor that actually shows something where it's off and then on and then off, and it has a little bit more randomness to it. So who's to say that if you are using this, that's what you're kind of looking for. Now, if we go with the default duty factor set at 50 and we change the cycles, it doesn't take many cycles to get a little bit of flash action going. I mean, the default is 1, and the default was 1 in 50. So if we change this to 1, that's the default, right? But if we bump it up from 1 to 13, that's literally, a couple numbers up, and now you actually see it kind of shimmering. So the functionality is about the same, but it's different. It definitely, whenever you use the duty factor here, it does act very different. It seems a little bit more random. I wonder if we add black into that. There's black if we get rid of the white, so now we have red and white. I think you could find there's an argument for using both. I don't know that one's better than the other. It just might take you a little bit more tweaking to get to the settings that you're looking for. Now, the last thing, of course, is use all colors. The checkbox there is set to yes, and as you can see, you get kind of that twinkle effect that we talked about earlier. If you want to add more black into it, you obviously can come up here and add some black into it. And I'm just dragging them down from the color dropper and putting a checkbox on them. And you can see as you add that in, it's giving you a little bit more of a shimmer look to it. Joe just asked a question, is there a setting that you can use for beat or timing to the music? Not exactly, not with the shimmer effect. You might be timing it to the music. You might be using these sliders to kind of get you there. You would want to do something, if you were trying to do something with the beat of the music, you'd want to use something like the VU meter. Every time you hit a timing mark or a beat timing, we could show you that at the end of the demo here, Joe. So the other ways, there are two other ways to use shimmer in xLights without using the shimmer effect, and they are, in my opinion, there's no control over these. They just are what they are, and they're both attached to our solid on effects and our color wash effects. So if I go here to the on effect and I go to shimmer, if I click the checkbox and I have the default on effect and use shimmer, you can tell that you can select multiple colors here. But xLights will only recognize 2 colors. So if you select a third color, it's not like the shimmer effect where it will cycle through and use all the colors you've selected. It will only look at the first 2 colors. So, and you can clearly see that if we get rid of white, and we have red and green now, and we can add black, and you don't see this going to black. If you want a shimmer off of this, one of the things that you can do is do white and black, or a single color, whatever single color it is. You can do blue and black. You can do yellow and black. That's pretty cool. But you'll also notice that anytime you do use the shimmer function, you'll notice that the on effect has this kind of dotted line or dotted character, and as well as the color wash effect does the same exact thing. The difference between the color wash effect and the on effect is the fact that whenever you use color wash, you're using a combination of whatever colors are selected at the time. So whenever you put the color wash effect on and use shimmer, it's going to shimmer with the selected colors as it travels through the time period. So that means basically if we deselect all of these and we just have black like we did before, what it's going to do is it's going to appear to go from white to black or fade out with a shimmer, and it's shimmering obviously against black. You can't shimmer with red and white like you can over here, or yellow and red, we'll say. So there's a shimmer with yellow and red, but there's no black because it's not built into it. But in this instance, the black is the other color, and the color wash treats everything on the palette as if it's a travel to the next color function. So kind of neat. It's useful if you're doing special things from one color palette to the next, or you're trying to traverse or join two sections of sequencing together, like the chorus and the verse. And there's a really neat drum part, and you want to go brrr, and this is one way to do that. Some of the functions of these shimmer effects. There's a lot of times that whenever you are sequencing, and I generally don't talk too much about this, but this is one thing that I do find that's super helpful. I'll utilize the butterfly effect, and we'll put it on the all roof here. Everybody loves the butterfly effect. I'm just going to insert a layer up above. And one of the things that if we have the butterfly effect on there, what if you want the butterfly effect to shimmer? So what you might consider doing is use just the black color with the on effect and add shimmer. And that's one way that you can make the whole roof there shimmer. Another thing that you can do is you can, if you pay attention to the layers in your sequencing, and you look at how the finite structure of your master view is set up, and this is why it's important to have your layout set up the way that your sequencer is setting up their layout. And one of the reasons why we never change ours is if I were to take this off effect, not off, it's an on effect with black, and it's using shimmer. If I were to arrow down, notice if I put the shimmer on just the lower roof, it's leaving the upper roof alone. And that's all due to the fact that the roof lower is down lower on the list. It's being rendered last, but it's being prioritized to view on the all compared to the all roof group. So it's taking the all roof group and it's shimmering what it has parsed out from the lower roof group. So, and you can do this, let's say, on the gutters here. I just moved it down to the gutters, and you can see the gutters are kind of bouncing. And so if you're trying to accomplish something, this is one way that you can do that. It's kind of like masking. It's a form of layer blending, and it's a lot of fun to kind of mess around with these things. So real quick, I want to answer Joe's question, and I'm going to come in here and show Joe how you might get something to beat to the thump to the beat of the music. And so I'm going to add a timing track. We're going to call it a metronome. Let's pretend there's music in here. There's no music in this sequence, but I'm going to pretend that there is. So if you have 120 beats per minute, which is a beat every 5 seconds, that's generally half a second is what? Is that 500 milliseconds? I don't know. We'll try it. Those look like beat marks, right? Okay. if you wanted to get, let's say, the icicles or the gutters, let's say the gutters, I'm going to just throw down the VU meter effect. And so what Joe, I think, might be looking for is something in the effect of the VU meter, and we come up here to type. And what if we give it a timing event pulse, and that would be timing event pulse, and let's give it a color so you can actually see it pulse. And let's set a timing track. So the timing track we want to go with is the 500 milliseconds, or this would be your beats track if you had one. And if you were playing the sequence and this were a beat track, you could have the beats of your music just bouncing right off of it. So nobody on YouTube reminded me to change my screen. So we just went through all of that. That's great. Guys, I'm going to cut it off here. If you have any questions about this or anything else, we're going to jump right into our PPD open mic session. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Robert's here with me. And by all means, you're welcome to jump in the Zoom room if you want to join us. Again, not a lot of heavy material tonight. It's just a good topic that we haven't talked about, and I thought it would be fantastic to bring it up and put it in as another thing crossed off the list to finish. So thanks for joining us, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks, and we will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye for now. All right.